Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Karen. Today we're looking at part 1 of The Lady or the Tiger. So that is the story that we're going to tell everyone today.
Hey.
But just judging by the title of the story, The Lady or the Tiger, what could the story be about? I know. Maybe it's someone committing a crime or doing something bad, and then they're trying to find out who did it. Maybe it was the lady, or maybe it was the tiger.
You know what? I choose the tiger. I'll take the tiger. Tiger.
What? You're gonna take the tiger?
Well, it's the lady or the tiger. I'm gonna choose tiger, I think.
So you're saying the story is just asking you to choose either the lady or the tiger.
You want the lady or the tiger? I'm like,
But why would you choose the tiger and not the lady, Matt?
Well, I don't have much to go on here. So with tiger, you know what you're getting. A tiger's always gonna be a tiger.
Yeah, but lady, right? I thought you would choose the lady.
But I don't know what kind of lady this is. What kind of lady is it?
Are you talking about maybe she's not gonna be a pretty lady?
I just don't know. I mean, I know tigers are always pretty.
Hey, that's the inside that matters, Matt.
Well, I also don't know what the inside's like with the lady.
You're
So the
right.
tiger's always
You're
gonna
right.
be ferocious and tiger-like.
Okay.
The lady,
You can't lose with that, right?
Right.
But anyways, I don't think that's what the story is about, Matt. But anyways, we're gonna go into today's article and find out more.
Right, let's see what they choose.
A long time ago, there lived a king whose rule was rather unusual. He ordered his subjects to set up a public arena. However, this arena was not built for sports. People who were accused of a crime would be brought into the arena to be judged and sentenced in a game of chance. As the king and his people watched, an accused man would enter the arena. In front of the accused, there were 2 doors, and he would need to decide which to open.
So we're looking at part 1 of our story called The Lady or the Tiger. And today we're going to find out what the story is about, right?
Yes, we will. A long time ago, there lived a king whose rule was rather unusual.
What does it mean when we say a king's, whose rule was rather unusual?
So his rule means the way that he, looks after or takes care of his country or the people in his land that he watches over. So his rule is he rules.
How he governs everybody, right?
That's right. So he said it was unusual. So unusual is an adjective, and unusual means it's not normal. It's not usual. So unusual meaning not usual or just something not normal. Something that doesn't usually happen is unusual. So our example sentence says, Rex thought of an unusual solution to the problem. So that means that this solution he had was not what most people would have thought of, not what the first thing you would think to do to solve this problem. Sometimes we have other unusual things, like, for example, sometimes it snows here in Taiwan in the winter on the mountains. If it were to snow in Taipei, you might say that would be very unusual.
That's right, because it doesn't happen very often, or it hasn't really happened at all, right? Okay, well, let's continue. He ordered his subjects to set up a public arena. What does it mean by he ordered his subjects to set up a public arena?
So he did not ask them to do it. He ordered them to do it. So he told them, he said,
like the people who worked
set
for
up
him,
that
right?
arena. It wasn't like, please set up that arena. He was just like, you set up that arena. So he ordered someone to do something.
And the subjects that here we're talking about the people that he's talking to, right? Or he's giving orders to set up a public arena. Now, a public is a thing, something that's for everybody, right? So it may be something for everybody to see, right?
Yeah, and an arena is usually a large building that usually has a center in it where people can watch something from the outer area, but you can watch what's happening in the middle.
That's right.
And for example, in Taipei, we have Taipei Arena.
You are right. A lot of people go there to watch concerts, right?
Yes.
Okay. However, this arena was not built for sports. Okay, so you can also watch sports games, right? Concerts, sport, that's right. No. Maybe concerts.
I don't think this particular one was built for concerts, but it wasn't built for sports. So we need to find out what are these people watching. People who were accused of a crime would be brought into the arena to be judged and sentenced in a game of chance.
Okay, well that sounds quite interesting.
So
right?
They were accused of a crime.
That's right. Well, crime is our next vocabulary word. So basically, accused of a crime. Crime means to do something against the law. For example, stealing something, robbing somebody, killing someone, or hurting someone. Those are all different types of crimes, right? So someone who's accused of a crime, that means people are saying, hey, he committed a crime, right?
Like Karen stole my coffee this morning.
Exactly. Okay, so in our example sentence for crime is that Yvonne is charged with a very serious crime. So maybe she's done something really, really bad that is against the law, right?
And she's been charged with it means that she's needs to now, go before a judge and everything. And that's another word we had in there was judged and sentenced. So to judged and sentenced was judged, meaning that usually in a court of law, the judge will judge you and say if you are guilty or innocent.
That's right.
And if you are guilty, you will be sentenced to something, usually time in jail or maybe some service, some kind of punishment.
That's right. Okay, well, let's continue. As the king and his people watched, an accused man would enter the arena. In front of the accused, there were 2 doors, and he would need to decide which to open. So game of chance, that's what they're talking about, right?
Yeah,
so it's kind of like a game.
It's a game of chance, meaning that it's just about luck. There's no way to know what's behind each door. It's like rolling a dice or tossing a coin. It's a game of chance.
That's right. And then there are 2 doors, but I wonder what's behind the 2 doors. Well,
you think maybe the title could be hinting at something?
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, how about let's take a short break and we will be right back. Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这一次要读的故事是 The Lady or the Tiger。那很久以前有一个国王，他的统治非比寻常，他就命令他的臣民或是他的国民来设立一个公共竞技场。那这不是为了运动哦，而是为了让被指控犯罪的人来接受审判。在国王跟人民的围观下，受到指控的男子就会走进竞技场。那在被告面前会出现2扇门，他得决定要打开哪一扇门。这就像丢铜板或是掷骰子，是属于 a game of chance。这就是指说机会赛局、博弈游戏，也就是那种碰运气的几率游戏。好，那么课文单字用到 unusual， 它是形容不寻常的或是奇特的。那么 crime， 它当可数名词是指罪或者是罪行，也可以当不可数名词来表达犯罪活动。刚刚 Matt 老师他则提到 punishment， 就是 punish 处罚，后面加上 ment， 构成这个名词就有惩罚、处罚、刑罚的意思。再补充一下文中这个 subject， 在这边不是指科目或对象，而是指臣民、国民。那么 arena 它则是指像体育比赛或表演用的那种体育场啊，也有竞技场的意思。好，课文用到 decide which to open 来表达决定要打开哪一扇门，那这边就用到一个重点，我们要进入文法时间。
好，我们来看这个重点是 WH 疑问词加上不定词 to V 用来做名词片语的用法。那么 WH 疑问词呢，像是 what、when、where、who、which 或是 how， 它们之后可以接不定词 to V 来形成名词片语。这时候呢，它就会跟 WH 疑问词加上主词加助动词加动词意思相同。像有时候我们会碰到不知道该怎么解释的时候呢，你就可以说 I don't know how to explain it。这就相当于 I don't know how I should explain it。我不知道该如何解释诶。那句子里面这个 how to explain it 是名词片语，那么 how I should explain it 是名词子句，它们摆在动词 know 后面，用来当受词用。那我们接回到课文中。
Behind one door was a fierce and hungry tiger. If the tiger were to be let out of its room, it would of course tear the man to pieces, and this development would be seen as a sign of guilt. Behind the other door, there was a beautiful lady. If the man chose this door, he and the woman would be married on the spot. It didn't matter to the king if the man objected or was already married. The man would be considered innocent, and the newly married couple would leave the arena together.
Welcome back. We're continuing to read this very interesting story, and so far we've learned that there's a king which has a very unusual way to rule, and that when someone is accused of a crime, they will be sent to an arena and they'll be put in front of two doors. Now, I'm wondering what's going to happen next. What is behind door number 1 and door number 2?
That's right.
One
And
do you
it's
choose?
a game of chance, right? So I'm guessing that he has to choose one, right? Okay, let's continue today's story. Behind one door was a fierce and hungry tiger. So you're right, right?
There is
the
a tiger?
lady or the tiger. Okay, you're right. If the tiger were to be let out of its room, it would, of course, tear the man to pieces. And this development would be seen as a sign of guilt. So tear the man to pieces, what does that mean?
So to tear means to, usually it's a verb and it means to break something into pieces, usually by sort of pulling them apart. Yeah, usually pulling something apart to make it into smaller pieces.
And the tiger's doing that, so I guess he's doing that with his teeth.
It's quite it's not a pretty thing to picture a tiger tearing a man to pieces.
Exactly.
But our example sentence says, she tore the paper in half and threw it in the garbage. So yeah, most commonly with paper, you can tear a piece of paper. Maybe if you have a piece of clothing, like a t-shirt, and you catch it on something sharp, you might tear your clothing.
You're right.
You need to fix it. So interestingly, so if the man chooses the door with a tiger, that means he was guilty. Is what they're saying, right?
But it has no proof, and then they don't care about the evidence, right?
Then, yeah, well, so if you're lucky, you're always innocent.
Exactly. Okay, let's find out what else is more.
Okay. Behind the other door, there was a beautiful lady.
So that answers your question, Matt. The beautiful lady.
See, that's what kind of lady. If the man chose this door, he and the woman would be married on the spot.
Really?
It didn't matter to the king if the man objected or was already married.
He didn't matter to the king if the man objected. What does that mean by objected?
It means it didn't matter if he said no or I don't want to or please don't make me get married.
And then it didn't even matter if he was already married. Right. So that's kind of a punishment, right? You're kind of like breaking up people's family.
Maybe he didn't want to get married.
Exactly.
It's also kind of could be lose-lose. I mean, it's not as bad as a fierce tiger, but
Exactly. The man would be considered innocent, and the newly married couple would leave the arena together. So we have this vocabulary word here, innocent, and that is an adjective. So innocent basically just means that you are not guilty, right? You have done nothing wrong. So for example, he didn't take the money, he's innocent. Wow, so that makes no sense to me at all. So if he chooses the door with the beautiful lady, even if he committed a crime, even if he has done something wrong, he can just get away with it.
Yeah, so that's right. So if you can continue to be lucky, maybe you got, some lucky thing like a lucky feather or something that keeps you being lucky. Even someone who's doing crimes like bad things all the time and is guilty of them, they could continue to just have many new wives.
Exactly. And then they can just get away with everything, right?
Well, yes. But what if they didn't want to get married? Then that's not good either. So
that's why we said that the king, he has a really unusual way to rule, right? Because nobody really does that. And I don't think people would agree to that, right? But then they can't really do anything.
No, that's right. So it's basically like rolling a dice to find out or tossing a coin is better, because heads or tails, do you go to jail or not go to jail? Or in this case, do you get fed to a tiger or not fed to a tiger?
Or do you get married with a beautiful lady? Well, we're not at the end yet. So, we're going to find out more in part 2.
Maybe, find out how they can, are they going to fix this?
I have
I don't
no
know.
idea.
We'll find out in part 2, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
刚刚说被告面前会有2扇门，他得决定要打开哪一扇。那其中一扇门后面是一只凶猛饥饿的老虎，要是让这个老虎离开房间啊，他一定会把这个人撕成碎片，那这就会被视为是有罪的象征。另一扇门后面呢，则是有一位美丽的女子。如果男子选这扇门，就要跟那名女子当场成婚。无论男子是否反对，是否已婚，这对国王来说并不重要。那这个人就会被认为是无辜的。听起来很荒谬，对不对？然后这对新婚夫妇还会一起离开竞技场。我们来看单字 tear， 它当动词念作 tear， 表示撕裂、撕开。那么三态是 tear、tore、torn。那所以同学们要特别注意，眼泪是 tear， 那同一个单字它当动词却是念作 tear。好，下一个单字是 innocent， 它是形容无罪的、清白的或是无辜的。那这边3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，那我们来看重点 if。主词 were to 加原形动词这样的句型，我们先学一下 be 动词加上 to 加动词呢，它是表达说将要怎么样计划做某事。那我们在这个句型当中 if 主词加上 be 动词 were 再加 to 加原形动词，则是用来表达说未来可能发生的假设情况，去表达万一怎么样，要是怎么样。那可以用在想象某情况发生时的反应。举例来说，If you were to travel back in time and do one thing, what would it be? 假如你要回到过去做一件事，那会是什么事呢？再来我们学习的是认为什么什么的用法。我们来看看要怎么表达认为 A 是 B， 将 A 视为 B。那第一种句型你可以用 think of A as B, see A as B, view A as B 或是 regard A as B。那么第二个句型你可以用 consider A to be B， 这个 to be 可以省略。这2个句型当中的 A 可以是人或事物，那么 B 的部分可以用形容词或名词表示。我们就来造句 ：She sees Greg as a good friend. She considers him trustworthy. 她把 Greg 视为好朋友，认为他值得信赖。那再来看看他们的被动语态的句型哦，你可以用 A be thought of as。Be seen as, be viewed as, 或是 be regarded as， 再加上 be， 或者是你可以用 A be considered to be B， 那 to be 可以省略。举例来说 ，Interrupting is regarded as rude， 打断别人说话被认为是不礼貌的哦。Mayday is considered one of the most popular bands in Taiwan， 五月天被视为台湾最受欢迎的乐团之一。再来我们看到 It doesn't matter to somebody if 主词加动词，这样的句型是表达是否怎么样对某人不重要。 那我们来拆解这个句型哦。It doesn't matter 表示不重要，没关系。那后面可以接 to somebody 来表达对某人来说。那么后面这个 if 主词加动词在这边是当名词子句去表达是否怎么样怎么样。那我们要注意句首的 it 其实是虚主词，用来代替 if 所引导的这个名词子句。也就是说，我们要表达 if 名词子句的内容呢 doesn't matter。举例来说 ，It doesn't matter if they know the truth。他们是否知道真相并不重要。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
A long time ago, there lived a king whose rule was rather unusual. He ordered his subjects to set up a public arena. However, this arena was not built for sports. People who were accused of a crime would be brought into the arena to be judged and sentenced in a game of chance. As the king and his people watched, an accused man would enter the arena. In front of the accused, there were 2 doors, and he would need to decide which to open. Behind one door was a fierce and hungry tiger. If the tiger were to be let out of its room, it would of course tear the man to pieces, and this development would be seen as a sign of guilt. Behind the other door, there was a beautiful lady. If the man chose this door, he and the woman would be married on the spot. It didn't matter to the king if the man objected or was already married. The man would be considered innocent, and the newly married couple would leave the arena together.
Hi everyone, this is Toi.
Hi, and this is Stephen.
And we're going to play a game called Word Drop, where each of us has 3 words or phrases that we haven't looked at yet, and we're going to try to work into a conversation as casually as possible. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
You start the conversation.
Let's go. So, you were just telling me about your podcast and how you like these mysteries and these true stories. And I've never really listened to this type of podcast. For me, I prefer more of the love romance or self-help where people are encouraging you. But I thought it was really interesting that you have these true crime podcast stories. Can you tell me more about that?
Ooh. Well, I do like stories, and I think sometimes they can be very scary, but sometimes these stories, you can learn a lot of great things from them, okay? Like one of the things I learned is you should always wear comfortable clothes in case you ever need to run away in a situation. And speaking of comfortable clothes, sometimes I feel like some of my clothes are getting tighter. I think it's because I'm getting bigger. And the other day, I actually was bending down and I tore my pants.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's happened to me too. I mean, especially in my jeans. Jeans are pretty tight fittings for women at least. So it's easy for me to tear my pants too. And especially here in Taiwan, it's hard to find clothes to fit me. I have a different shape of a body, and but it's really funny that you're talking about clothes ripping. I'm sorry, but I mean, but I'm sure it's an innocent mistake, you know, like it happens to everyone.
It does happen. I think that's the thing is like sometimes embarrassing things happen to people and we feel very like guilty about it. Or we feel very like ashamed, but I'm sure in everyone's lifetime, at least one time they have a situation like that where a piece of clothing has torn, right? So I don't really think it's that unusual to happen.
I would say it isn't. I would. It's not that unusual, just as it's not unusual for people to slip and fall on the ground. If I were to wear high heels, I would stumble sometimes too. So I completely understand these clothing mishaps.
But I think the most important thing to do is when you have these situations or these accidents, you should always like know who to go to or where to go to fix these problems. I mean, Google helps a lot.
It really does. I have a really good seamstress. Like, she's altering one of my dresses now.
Oh.
See you next time.